Hi, everybody. It's Jessica DeMassa with What's the Future Health. We are talking to the who's who of health technology and healthcare innovation. And today, oh my God, it's like, how many more of these can we talk to? We've got another unicorn, $1.1 billion valuation on this company. They have just closed a $100 million Series C round. So please meet the CEO of Rightway, Jordan Feldman. Jordan, pleasure to have you with us today. Congratulations on your fundraise.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Me too. So we need to learn all about Rightway because I don't know, you guys are like the best kept secret out there. So Care Navigator and a PBM. So this is an interesting combination to me. And the space is, it seems to be having a moment right now. So explain to me a little bit about what you guys do. Start at the top. Let's get everybody oriented and then we will drill down deep into both sides of that business.
Let's do it. So in my previous life, I was working in private equity.
Okay.
We were looking at healthcare navigation and advocacy platforms, a lot of which you'll be familiar with. And from about 3 years of diligence in the space, looking at the underlying member experience, talking to employers, CHROs, CFOs, I grew frustrated with what was being delivered. This is a moment in time where employees have more information, more choices, more financial accountability than they've ever had before, but the tools and resources that are supporting them, advocating them, guiding them felt inadequate. They were disjointed, they weren't tech-enabled, and they were generally frustrating. So with my dad, who's a 35-year practicing cardiologist, we took a step back and we said, how could we solve this? What could we give to members that they actually wanted to use, that empowered them, that enabled them, that streamlined and optimized their care experience? And the aha moment to start Rightway was sitting around a lunch table with my dad where different friends, family, extended friends came up to him and said, hey, doc, where do I go for my AFib ablation? Where do I get a cheaper prescription drug? How do I get an appointment in your office this year? And it wasn't so much that they were looking to him for care, but it was really that care decision support around where do I go? What do I do? How do I get there? How much does it cost? And all of these elements that weren't being supported by the underlying infrastructure were really what was frustrating members the most. So we built Rightway initially as a care navigation and advocacy platform to really deliver that doctor and the family type support. Someone you trust, someone who knows healthcare, someone who could hold your hand from point of diagnosis to last bill paid. And that's really where Rightway started as a care navigation and advocacy platform and has evolved into much more than that, obviously with the PBM, but always with the North Star of how do we engage the member, how do we support them, and how do we reduce total cost of care? And that's what we're focused on. That's what all of our technology is really built upon. And that's just the mission and the value of Rightway overall. So, that's a little bit of where we've come from.
I love this. So really you founded this company in order to make sure that people were not bugging your dad anymore. That's great. No.
I joke with him. All Rightway is a way to scale what my dad does for, friends and family. And that's really what's made a meaningful impact for our members is just that personalized advocacy and support that, you're not getting otherwise in the system.
And that's really important. I do think that is overlooked. And I think that we all wish we had that doctor there to hold our hands. There's been a lot of a little bit of a ruckus raised recently about care navigators. Mostly this is coming out of Glenn Tallman, the CEO of Transcarent's mouth, talking about how care navigators, navigation is not enough. So talk to me about what you guys do, because when I took a look at your site, you're doing a lot more than navigating. And obviously on the PBM side of things, I do want to jump into that next. But before we get there, talk a little bit more about that Care Navigator side and what you guys have built from the member perspective.
Yes, so care navigation in my mind is really focused on 3 distinct variables: site of service, intensity of service, and quality of care. If you can optimize around those 3 variables, you can start to impact that 30 to 40% of healthcare spend that's wasteful or preventable. And an example of that, if you have back pain, do you go to a physiatrist? Do you go to an orthopedic surgeon? Do you go to physical therapy? Do you use a digital MSK clinic, or do you take a leave and call it a day? And depending on how you enter the ecosystem, depending on what quality of doctor you see, and depending on where you see that doctor, the range of outcomes and the range of costs can look drastically different. So what we think of our care navigation and advocacy platform as is the digital front door into that decision-making process with the technology, the centralization to elevate and illuminate the universe of options you could choose. And then all of that's complemented by a personalized, dedicated clinical navigator. So that goes back to that doctor in the family where, you have the underlying technology infrastructure, which says, I could use my digital MSK clinic for this. I can go to a physiatrist to get the facet injection, or I could just have a conversation with someone who knows my plan, who knows my plan design, who can understand what I'm going through and maybe give me an alternative. So the care navigation platform is really that top of the funnel that members are coming to and through, such that we can optimize all of the downstream impacts around where you're going, why you're going there, and if that doc or facility is good or not. And, that's what our care navigation platform really delivers. And what we've shown in an independent actuarial analysis that's coming out over the next few weeks is that employer groups that utilize the Rightway platform spend 14.5% less on care than companies that don't. And this is based off demographics. This is based on conditions and comorbidities. This is index matched with IBM Watson data. Because when members have that support, when members are going to the right place, the right intensity of service, the right quality of care, healthcare downstream is a little bit more elegant, a little bit more empowering, a little bit more seamless, and much more cost efficient. So that's really what we're delivering. Our quality scores are all proprietary. Our databases are all built in-house such that when a member does come to us, we're holding their hand to get to the best place that they need to go.
Okay, so by providing them that access to that front end clinician or doctor, and it's not clear to me who it is that's on the other side of the app who's calling the shots over there, but by providing that level of care up front, you guys are seeing double-digit cost savings downstream. So who is that person who's providing that navigation? Is it a clinician?
Yeah, that person is a Rightway employee. They're nurse practitioners or nurses. We feel very strongly that initial intake has to be with someone clinical. If you call in, you don't want to speak to just a customer service rep. You want to speak to someone who can make that initial triage, who can understand the next best action and isn't just saying, hey, we'll get back to you. So having that personalization, having that dedication with someone clinical allows us to build incremental trust. And that's the beauty of navigation. We're not going to solve your most complex case day one. We need to establish the relationship. We need to build trust. So first, we could help you around selecting a plan at open enrollment. Then we could help get your daughter a pediatrician appointment. Then we could help you with the knee surgery for your husband. And God forbid, a complex cancer case. All of that's coming to and through a navigation platform because we have the most comprehensive and most fulsome use cases versus a digital therapeutic or a second opinion service or telemedicine. And that's why I think care navigation and advocacy really does have that opportunity to be the true platform in healthcare, the centralized ecosystem that members are going to and through for all things health and healthcare. And then we're able to vend out to, the next best action or the appropriate, digital therapeutic, if you will.
Okay. Now, so this is all well and good. And then on top of that, now you've decided to launch Rightway RX, the PBM.
Yeah.
So this is like undoing and rebuilding what a PBM does, right? And your clients, I should say this just to make sure everybody has an awareness of who you're selling to. So in addition to having patients and members, you guys work with large employers. So 850 different employers. You've got what is the number I saw? 500,000 members underneath your umbrella there. Through those employers. So what made you guys step into this PBM space? Because this is an unusual little pairing here, the Care Navigator plus the PBM side of things. At least like the way that I read it, it sounded like you guys have really taken the task at hand to rebuild that whole concept of what a pharmacy benefits manager is like and the role that it serves and how it's all orchestrated and funded in the background. So what made you guys get into that?
Yeah, so over the last 4 years, we've sat in a very privileged position within the enterprise healthcare ecosystem. We work with these 850 employers. We have hundreds of thousands of members on the platform. And we have a vantage point, not only to where members are most frustrated, but to where costs are rising most significantly within the pie of total cost of care. So from this interaction data, from this spend data, we started to notice a disproportionate amount of not only interactions, but rising costs around pharmacy. And when you take a step back, there's only so much you can do to optimize around the big three PBMs. by, default, they make their contracts opaque. It's, not a lot of consumerism in the pharmacy benefits experience. And there was only so much we could do as a handoff on the care navigation side as we think about pharmacy. So this is when we partnered with Thrive, who had a lot of experience building Oscar as a new to the world payer, and said, we can re-architect, we can re-engineer what a PBM looked like and build it on the same principles that we focus on the care navigation side, which is the member experience, which is transparency, which is, advocacy from a clinical perspective, and really rebuild what it meant to be a PBM. So, we entered into the PBM space such that we could longitudinally support a member not only on medical, but on pharmacy. And if you look at, some of the payer PBM vertical integration, a lot of what we're doing is in that same effort, because no navigation player in their current form can really support on PBM or pharmacy benefits in general as effectively as they need to start optimizing that. I mean, the mere fact that you have a company like GoodRx, an exogenous player outside of the PBM ecosystem that's able to get you cheaper prescription drugs, that just tells you everything that's wrong with the funded model. So in a lot of ways, we are introducing to the funded model the same member-centric experience, the same tech-forward delivery, the same transparency to say, we're going to get you the best pill at the best price, at the best place with, all of the elements that consumers really are voting for by using a GoodRx type platform. So, I'd say the evolution into PBM was really around a recognition that the employers we're working with were not getting the support or the cost savings that they needed to see on the pharmacy side. And we couldn't just go in there and be the same layer we are in medical. We had to go in there and say, we're going to do this entirely differently. And that's what we've been doing with, tremendous outcomes. I mean, the cost savings that we can generate have been remarkable. Yes. So for our earliest clients, and a big part of our early clients on the PBM side have been generated from, who we're working with on the navigation side. They know us, they love us, they trust us. We've been generating outcomes and impact for them on navigation, and we've been able to translate that over into PBM. So, we're seeing anywhere at the low end 15%, at the high end about 35% of, hard dollar cost savings on the PBM side. And this is through a few different deliverables. I mean, first and foremost, it's rebate lists, right? We have a transparent rebate list, fully aligned contract. So we're not keeping rebates. We want to get paid like a technology company to process claims, to deliver the member experience, to help build a formulary, to deliver analytics. So the rebates are going back into the pockets of their rightful owner, which are the employers and the employees. So that's number one. But I would argue that we're the first PBM to really, focus and think about utilization and member engagement and member support. And why we're able to do that more effectively than arguably any other PBM out there is because we've been doing that on the navigation side for the last 4 years. We've shown an ability to use data both proactively and reactively to engage members, to support them, to actually use the mousetrap that we've built that they desperately need to navigate healthcare. And this extends over to the pharmacy benefit experience where, if you get prescribed a drug by your doctor, that's pinging our adjudication engine. And in real time, we could tell you, is the right drug, best place to get it, how much is it going to cost, any, clinical or therapeutic equivalents we can elevate. And that experience is unheard of in the legacy PBM model where they're not focused on utilization. Their PBM is focused on the price of the pill. The only way to sustainably reduce pharmacy spend over time is, you got to have the price of the pill to a good place, but you need to manage utilization and member experience in order to really accomplish anything meaningful and sustainable.
All right, so Jordan, I read that the Rightway RX, the PBM product, was launched last year, and also in the release. And you had mentioned Thrive, one of your investors, who's also invested in Oscar. Tiger Global is in this round, and it was led by Khosla Ventures. And I want to talk about the fundraise here because I believe that it sounded to me like it was very closely connected to scaling up this PBM offering. But tell us what you're going to spend this $100 million on. What are you going to do with it?
Well, we're very excited about our new partners. Khosla is a group, and Samir specifically, who's joining our board, that we've been familiar with for a long time. They've made, some of the best investments into the digital healthcare ecosystem, and, believe that they can be additive in the same ways that, Thrive was in our previous rounds. But, we look at this fundraise as an opportunity to build more features and functionality to engage the member, both on the navigation and the PBM side. Focus on go-to-market, as we were discussing earlier, that hasn't really been our focus. We've wanted to execute, we've wanted to deliver value, but, building our brand and profile is going to be an important piece of this funding round. And then, as you alluded to, there are some elements of the new to the world PBM infrastructure that are capital intensive, in order to re-architect some of the underlying processes and infrastructure of a PBM to be able to do the sort of stuff that we want to do. We have to build it from the ground up. If you look at the legacy infrastructure on the PBM side, you have technology that was built 30 or 40 years ago that doesn't have the modularity or flexibility to deliver what we want to deliver. So a lot of the capital allocation will be focused towards some of those underlying pieces.
Anything that we could maybe tease out for our health tech, digital health friends in terms of any type of technology that or any type of company that you might be looking at from an M&A perspective? I mean, I always love when PBMs have a digital health formulary attached to them, or any designs on that. Can you tell anything to the startups out there who may be interested in working with Rightway at one point or another?
Yeah, look, I mean, having a Goldman Sachs and private equity background, I definitely appreciate the M&A opportunities in the market. And look, I mean, there are some phenomenal technologies being built on navigation, on PBM, across the digital health stack. So, it's always, do you build it, do you partner, do you buy? And, we've been active looking at opportunities to, I would say, opportunistically acquire both capabilities, but also infrastructure for how we think about going to market. So, there's no singular vertical that, I could say we're very close to. But, I think on the navigation side, data is really king there. And how do we get more data on quality? How do we get more data on cost? How do we get more data on network and network design? Because essentially what we're doing is we're synthetically narrowing the network on the navigation side to the highest quality, most cost-efficient providers. And anything we can do to further that effort. And then on the PBM side, you have the claims adjudication platform, which we're looking to innovate on. We're looking towards flexible formulary design, and there are some pretty neat companies and technologies out there that I think will very much look to partner on. And then, the list goes on as you're thinking about building a vertically integrated PBM. But, we definitely have our eyes on, great technologies and great companies that can help accelerate that effort.
All right. So who do you think you compete with? Like if you were to pick, because I mean, I think about this space and I think about all the new PBM companies. It feels like last year was like all of a sudden it was like there was a little micro explosion of PBM companies that have come out in attempt to transform that space, which has always been called like the black box of healthcare. And then there's also some very well-funded care navigators, or those that are kind of care navigators, but not calling themselves care navigators. So, and there are, a few that are both of those things like you guys are. So, who do you guys see as your competitor?
Yeah, so maybe I would take that in a few different parts: the care navigation standalones, the PBM standalones, and then, converging navigation plus new to the world PBM. But, on the navigation side, look, there's a lot of players out there. I think, the motivation to start Rightway after diligencing all of the ones that you're alluding to was, these weren't really tech enabled. These felt like glorified call centers that, sat out there and weren't as focused on the member experience as they were just, throwing resources and people at the problem. So, we wanted to complement kind of the high tech, the high touch, put it together on the care navigation side. And I think that's why and how we've been able to run fast is, a more digital first approach, but not losing sight of how important the personalization is. So, I would say the players that you are familiar with, we'd probably consider competitors on the navigation side, and agree that space is becoming hot. That space is becoming a focus because, the brokers, the third-party administrators, the coalitions, the health plans, they've designed strategies, they've shifted costs, they've put in infrastructures, but how are you going to tactically implement those different strategies? We need to start putting tooling and resources in the hands of the underlying members such that, when you design a center of excellence program or when you deliver a high deductible plan, that the members stand a chance of actually, executing on that. On the PBM side, I think where we're unique is first off our model. I think transparency and financial alignment are just table stakes. But, we've been able to leverage a lot of what we've built on the navigation side and really accelerate what we're doing there. So, there are some newer to the world PBM models. I think some of them are more digital focused. Some of them are more transparent and pass-through focused. But, where I think we're unique is really how and where we bring it together. And then if you kind of parachute up to 30,000 feet and say, hey, Rightway is able to longitudinally support medical and pharmacy in a way that, only the integrated payer PBMs are able to, but without ripping and replacing the entire infrastructure. I think that's where we become unique. That's where, I would say if you are going to go with kind of the singular, most comprehensive platform within the enterprise healthcare ecosystem, that's really what we're trying to establish ourselves as.
All right. Last thing for you. Talk to me about what's next as far as go-to-market is concerned. So, we talked a little bit about how you're going to be deploying this capital in order to scale up and build out the business. And so right now, like we said, 850 employer clients. So where are you headed next here? Are you looking to partner up more with health plans, still going to stay focused on the employer market? And give us a sense of what the go-to-market strategy is like now.
Yeah, so if you look at our customer base and, if we even just had to give some examples on the financial services side, companies like Evercore, TPG, City National, Shift4, on the technology side, Okta, DoorDash, Roblox, more Main Street, like Kroger, like Burger King, like Custom Ink, wide variety of company types, company sizes. We've mostly been focused in the middle market space, but we also partner with TPAs, we partner with PEOs. We're starting to spend a lot of time with health plans as they recognize that both on the navigation and the PBM side, they need a better, more consumer-centric delivery. So I would say, as we look out to, customer acquisition, go to market, I think we'll be staying in the same, 500 to, 25,000 employee range. I think that's where we've developed a sweet spot. That's where we can generate meaningful engagement. But there are other nodes, right? There's working with coalitions. There's working with, different PEOs and TPAs that get you underlying access there. So, we're going to stay within kind of the swim lanes that we've established, but, really start to, work to further penetrate those with the broker consultants and, with the other channels that we have in place. But, as you mentioned, health plans are definitely something that are definitely a stakeholder that we're spending a lot more time with.
Well, good thing you have some friends at Thrive to help you make some introductions.
Exactly.
All right, Jordan. Well, congratulations again on the fundraising and the valuation, 1.1 billion. That's awesome. It's so nice to meet you and to hear about Rightway and what you guys are up to over there. I love when people take on PBMs. So it's like, this is exciting to me. This is my old health plan geek coming out. But thank you so much again for stopping by, explaining to us what you guys are doing there that's so unique and different, and also kind of what the pathway is forward for you guys now that you've got your 100 million in funding in your Series C round. So congratulations again.
Thank you. Really enjoyed the time, and
yeah, we'll have to have you back when you guys take over the world here.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. Really enjoyed it.
No problem. I'm Jessica DeMossa with What's the Future Health. For more interviews with those who are changing the way that we do healthcare, please check out my YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/WTF Health. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching.